Burning Sands is a movie that BGLOs, Black Greek letter organizations, do not want you to see. All right. This movie, Burning Sands, really goes to the depths of underground hazing. And some would say this is an extreme example of hazing, but this is very realistic and it's common in terms of the history of these BGLOs, all right, and the examples of what black students have to do to join these fraternities and sororities. I mean, this is really, this movie, in my opinion, is very realistic in terms of the portrayal of BGLOs and the hazing process, et cetera, et cetera. I saw the movie earlier today, family. I'll tell you straight off the bat, this was a good movie. I really liked the movie a lot, actually. I actually watched it twice. I watched it twice earlier today. The main reason why I watched it twice, number one, I was getting distracted. You know, when you're a married man with 3 children under 8 years old, you get distracted a lot. But I did manage to watch it twice, and I really liked the movie a lot, just right off the bat. But I'm going to go further in depth and talk about the movie, talk about the things I liked, the things I didn't like about the movie, and just give you guys my overall opinion about this movie, Burning Sands, that's on Netflix. All right. So before I get into that, family, if you're new to the channel, I'm going to reintroduce myself. If you're watching me for the first time, my name is Chauncey, aka the Black Separatist. On this channel, I talk about counter racism. I also talk about issues that affect black people collectively as a group, and I offer my suggestions on how to replace this broken system of injustice, this broken system of racism, which is white supremacy, with a system of justice. So if you are new and you agree to that ideology, please subscribe to this channel. If you don't agree, subscribe anyway, because I need 2 things to happen: my view counts to go up and my subscriptions to also go up, so I can spread this message of replacing this broken system of injustice with a system of justice. All right. So if you want to hate, watch, and troll, beat my guests, because at the end of the day, those types of people are just view counts and statistics. All right, family, enough with the promo. So yeah, Burning Sands. I saw this movie earlier today, and like I said, right off the bat, I enjoyed the movie. I really liked the movie, and this is a topic that when I talk about BGLOs and Boule organizations, I would suggest you guys, if you haven't already, go back and check out my video I did last year entitled "The Emasculation," all right, of the black male in Boule organizations. I'll have it up here so you can check it out. I believe that's the title. I had a long title, but I know it has something to do with the emasculation process. This is, based off history. I give you guys raw facts, you know what I'm saying? And about what's happening with black people in terms of, in general, in black society, joining these organizations, right? Religious organizations, religious affiliations, et cetera, et cetera. There is a history behind that. So I study the history and I see the patterns, and I give you guys real facts. All right. Primary evidence as to why this is happening. All right. Backed up with primary evidence. So, but that video, like I said, you guys can check it out. A lot of the BGLO members were really upset. So that's why I say I made the statement that this movie here is a movie that fraternities and sororities, black Greek letter organizations, are not going to be happy with. They're just not. This paints a picture in the negative light of these organizations. But you can't deny the fact that all of these stuff that's happening in this movie is real. These things actually happen in these organizations. So anyway, family, the movie Burning Sands, just to give you a quick rundown, basically it's a movie about a black student. Just to give you guys a rundown about the movie, it's about a black student. The lead actor of the movie is played by a character. His name of the character is Zurich. All right, so he's a student that attends this fictional HBCU called Frederick Douglass University, and he's trying to join this BGLO, this fraternity called Lambda Phi. All right, and so he has to go through this stringent process called Hell Week. Well, basically, Hell Week is, you know, any kind of any person pledging to join these BGLOs, they have to basically humiliate themselves. They have to be sodomized. They have to do abhorrent things. All right. Some more strenuous than others, but it's not an easy process, is the point. It's not an easy process. And again, this involves a lot of humiliation, a lot of physical and mental abuse, etc., etc. So you really got to go through a lot to join a BGLO and just say, hey, once you make it through that process, if you do make it through that process, you are a quote unquote brother or a quote unquote sister of that chapter, fraternity, or sorority, etc., etc. Right? So family, the movie itself, like I said, I really liked the movie. The casting was great. The actors and the actresses, they did a good job. I liked the storylines of the movie itself. I'm talking about the positive things of the movie. The storylines were good. They're interwoven with each other very well. You had the storyline of the black student who played Zurich in the movie, who was trying to join Lambda, right? And then you had the story of him and his girlfriend, right? In which I had to do a double take because I was looking at the person, the actress who played Zurich's girlfriend. I was like, she looks familiar. And then when I saw her at a different angle, I was like, wait a minute. That's the girl that plays the little girl on Everybody Hates Chris. I was shocked. I was like, man, I didn't know it was a grown woman like that. Because you know what? I still watch, me and my kids, we still watch Everybody Hates Chris till this day. And that little girl that plays one of the assemblies of Chris Rock is in the movie playing Zurich's girlfriend. I was like, man, she grown up a lot. Wow. Crazy, man. I had to look her up on IMDb. I didn't know she was in her 20s. So it was crazy to see her. The rest of the casting, like I said, you know, I didn't know about her. I was surprised to see her in the movie. The actress who played Zurich's girlfriend, just shocked. But the rest of the people who were casted, they did a great job in terms of the acting, and the casting itself was great in terms of everybody looked the part. Basically, they looked like college students. The professors who were in the movie, which the name escapes me, but the lady, I've seen her a lot in different movies. The lady who plays Zurich's professor in his class, great job. The dean of the school, great job casting him as well. So I mean, like I said, I was very impressed with the casting. Also, the cinematography was pretty good as well. The lighting, the angles, the shots, the colorization, all of that stuff. It didn't look like a typical movie you would see on, let's say, Lifetime or something like that. Basically, this movie, it's up there with in terms of its cinematography, what's that movie that came out a long time ago about the dancing HBCUs? I think it was called Stomp the Yard. Yeah, the feeling or the look of the movie, it reminded me of Stomp the Yard, which came out like what, 2006, 2007, damn, 10 years ago. It just reminded me of Stomp the Yard because Stomp the Yard was a theatrical release, but and it had a good budget. This movie, Burning Sands, I'm pretty sure it has a decent budget, but the way it was shot, it looked like it belonged in a theatrical release, even though it went straight to Netflix. That's my point. So, yeah, family, I was definitely like the cinematography and the casting of the actors and the actresses were on point. So now let's talk about the movie. I'm not going to give out any spoilers, family. So I'm just going to talk about certain things I want to point out about the movie. All right, Burning Sands. Like I said, the movie takes place at a fictional HBCU called Frederick Douglass University. And basically, the movie, the lead character of the movie, Zurich, is trying to pledge and join Lambda Lambda and trying to go through Hell Week. And then the final grand prize, if you will, is Hell Night, where there's a tragic ending. Okay, a tragic ending. You got to watch that at the end to see what happens. I'm not going to give that away, but tragic ending, and it's realistic. Okay, it's realistic because there was an incident that happened at an HBCU, I think 4 or 5 years ago, where something tragic happened to a student at an HBCU during hazing. So, yeah, family. But anyway, the movie itself, in terms of the writing, I like the way that the characters, especially the lead character, it basically goes right into the HBCU life and him trying to join this Lambda Lambda fraternity. Not a lot of backstories about where he came from in terms of his family, et cetera, et cetera. But the fragments of the movie itself, right, it kind of leaves you wondering because you have stories where he's not the only one trying to join the HBCU. He has his, I guess you call line brothers. Also, there's like 5 other actors who are also trying to pledge and join Lambda Lambda as well. And there's not a lot of backstory regarding their history, right? You're going to get bits and pieces of what they're about, et cetera, et cetera. There's one scene in the movie where his line brother, Zurich's line brother, who wears glasses, and he is known, I believe they gave him a nickname. I can't think of the nickname off the top of my head, but they kept giving him a nickname, right? And Zurich always referred to him as his nickname, but he never knew his real name. All right, up until a point where the guy was like, "You just know me by my nickname, but do you know my real name?" And Zurich couldn't answer that question, and so he finally said, "Hey, this is my name. My name is Ernest." It just came to me now. His real name in the movie itself, the guy who played Zurich's line brother, is Ernest. But throughout the movie, there is some scenes that are kind of questionable, right? And kind of leave you wondering, right? And which is probably why I wanted to see the movie again. Not only the fact that I was distracted, but there were certain things I just wanted to see again to make sense of what's happening, right? There was another scene during the Hell Week where, like I said, I'm not going to give out spoilers. I'll just say this, right? I'm trying my best not to give out spoilers. I'll just say this. The Pledge Brothers, or the Line Brothers, whatever you want to call them, they go to a house and they are asked to do something. I'll just say to a female. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, the female in the house is doing things I consider abhorrent. Okay, and the lead actor, the lead character in the movie, Zurek, asked her a question. You know, a basic question is like, "Why are you doing this?" Okay, and I really wasn't satisfied with her answer. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. I guess that's the way they wrote the character out. But her answer to that question it didn't make a whole lot of sense. It's just my opinion. It really didn't make a whole lot of sense at all. I'll just leave it at that. Like I said, I'm not trying to give out spoilers at all with this movie. But other than that, family, the movie, like I said, is centered around this fictional HBCU, Frederick Douglass University. And so there's a lot of Frederick Douglass quotes in the movie that help make sense of this movie, right? There's two quotes in particular that they quote a lot. The first one being, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. All right. So that kind of parallels with the hazing process, right? Because during the hazing process in this movie, you got to be humiliated. You got to be beaten with a paddle. You got to be, just sodomized, et cetera, et cetera. And so that quote there, they utilize that quite often in the movie. Okay. And there's another quote that they say also in the movie. It's called, it's quote, "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now, that quote, that spoke volumes also in the movie, because it's a deeper pattern when it comes to why black people join BGLOs, they join religious organizations, because everything is taught as you are a child. When you are a grown man, right, and you're not sure about yourself, not sure about your identity, it's a lot harder to convince you to change your ways when you're older than when you're younger. All right. And so this is a pattern within black people. And I've always talked about, black people specifically have an issue with mental illness because of the main thing, slavery, which happened, post 500 years. But you have post-traumatic slavery syndrome, you have cognitive dissonance, right? And you have Stockholm syndrome. All of those things, coupled with the fact that you went through over 500 years of antebellum slavery, you're going to have mental health issues, okay? And so when you are taught certain things a certain way for so long, conditioned to think a certain way for so long, that continues to follow you through your lineage. And these are actually scientific facts, all right? I've talked about this in other videos where slavery still has effect on black people's DNA. Depending how far back your lineage goes, all right, it still has effect on your DNA. And these are just facts. There's been studies that shown that. And so when you're taught in a certain way for so long, and you go back to the history of BGLOs, why they were started, because, blacks could not join white fraternities and sororities. So guess what? They started their own. But again, the main culprit or the progenitor of BGLOs, et cetera, was because of the Plessy versus Ferguson case, all right, which took place in the late 1800s. Right after that, look up the Plessy versus Ferguson case. Right after that, you have the start of HBCUs and BGLOs, all right? You have to study those timelines to get the full picture of why they were started, so on and so forth. Similar to black churches, right? What's the reason why black churches were started? Because black people weren't allowed to congregate with white churches, right? And the Jim Crow era in the earlier 1800s, et cetera, in that timeline, in that time frame. Okay, so if you understand that and study those histories, it'll make more sense to you, the history about BGLOs and just black organizations in general. Okay, so anyway, the quotes about Frederick Douglass were on point because it really talked about and set the tone for the movie itself. Speaking of movie, when I did the actual reaction video to the trailer, and when I saw the trailer, I thought it was a series called Burning Sands, but it's an actual movie. But no, nonetheless, family, like I said, this was a good movie, and I do recommend you to watch it with an open mind, especially if you come from a BGLO and you already have a preconceived notion that this is going to be terrible or et cetera, et cetera. Coming with an open mind, because nothing in this movie that I saw has not happened in real life. Everything is realistic. It's realistic because these things actually happen. The tragic ending, that actually happened in real life. All of the things that they done for the hazing, paddling, beating people up, punching people, throwing people in pools, drinking excessively. All of those things have happened in real hazing, in real pledges at BGLOs. All of these things have happened. The dancing, the line dancing, probates, all of that stuff is in the movie, and it's happened in real life. So obviously, they've done their research. They most likely had real BGLOs who helped do research about fraternities, Black Greek letter organizations, in general, and gave the writers and the producers of this movie help to make this movie realistic, which it is, because everything in this movie happened in real life. It has happened. All right, so nothing is too far-fetched at all. But again, because of the tragic ending, all right, and because of the tone of the movie in terms of how the hazing process works and how black men and black women are pretty much humiliated and sodomized, et cetera, in these BGLOs, they're gonna look at this movie at a different light and not be so keen about it. All right, and that's what it is when something is too real, right? Even though this is a fictional movie, when something is too real, people are not fans of that. They're just not, because it's telling the truth. All right. But it is what it is. But anyway, family, Burning Sands, like I said, I recommend you guys to watch it. It's on Netflix right now. You can watch it right now as I speak. And I'm just giving you guys my honest opinion about the movie. I recommend that you guys watch the movie with an open mind, especially those who are in BGLOs, Boule organizations, et cetera, all right? Watch the movie with an open mind, and pretty much there's nothing in the movie that's not realistic. Everything about the movie in terms of the hazing and all that stuff happens in real life. It's happened in real life. All right. But I do like the casting. I like the actors and the actresses. The guy who directed this movie is the same guy who did Fruitville Station. So it had that kind of tone to it, because I saw Fruitville Station as well, and that had great cinematography, and the tone was very, in terms of the cinematography, it was very rich and warm. And this movie had the same thing. And it has a theatrical type of production, right? Which is why I compared it to Stomp the Yard, which had a theatrical release, which came out 10 years ago or whatever. But overall, I like the movie, and I recommend you guys to watch the movie. All right, family. So those are my thoughts about Burning Sands. Make sure you go check it out. I think you guys will learn something about it, and you'll definitely learn something about the some of the actors and the actresses in the movie, because I'm starting to do more research about the rest of the people who were casted. I'm going to check out some of their stuff that they did as well. A lot of the actors I never heard of. So I'm on IMDb right now and trying to find out what are the projects they worked on and try to follow what are the projects they're coming up with so I can check their stuff out. Because I like I said, the acting was on point. It really was. I was impressed by that as well. So anyway, family, those are my thoughts about Burning Sands. Make sure you check it out. All right, family. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I want to hear your thoughts. If you've seen Burning Sands, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. All right, family. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter is Black Separatist, and my Instagram is The Black Separatist, and the links will be down low in the description. All right, family. Until next time, Chauncey, aka The Black Separatist, signing out. Peace.